Alright, let's get started. Make sure to comment, subscribe, leave a like on the video. Help me reach the YouTube monetization threshold. We're in the lower decks of our ship. Interact with some of our crew, like Shody
Watcher,
here.
Tell me what's on your mind?
How is it you came to be a worshipper of Gone more than so of Aothis?
My folks. You might say they're not your typical Aethasians. Sure, they cling to the light more than the darkness. But the war, it touched my family. And it changed them. Killed some. Not that I remember firsthand. The others toughened, turned survivors. That much I saw with my own eyes, even years later. They died.
Okay.
No, Watcher. I really don't. Not at this time. Maybe not ever.
For a space of several heartbeats, she looks as if she might cry, face scrunched from the stab of visible pain. But then she swipes a dirty hand beneath her nose, and the mole mission vanishes completely.
Feeling sorry never made a lick of difference for me. But I thank you all the same.
I get the feeling you don't really fit in with the other Dawnstars.
I guess it's the nature of light to want to best the darkness. But you can't have balance like that.
Head downcast, she thumbs the edge of her sickle thoughtfully.
And it's not like night and death are bad things.
I agree. Death is the ultimate journey, isn't it? Towards the divine principle, the divine unity. Aren't they, though? Are there others like you?
Of course. Though we're few and spread out. Most don't keep to temples. Soul shepherding requires travel. My aunt's the one who taught me about the cycle of life and death. How everything happens in stages. Whether forwards or backwards, from seed to rot to rebirth again, it's all just states of existence and balance. See? That's how I first learned about the slice of Gone within Aothis. After that, I read all the doctrines of Gone, anything and everything I could get my hands on. The 12 books of Nearwith, plus the epistles from the minor prophets. A lot of them aren't a part of today's canonization, but that doesn't mean they're wrong. It's tradition for the youngest born to take up the priesthood of Aothis. Well, I did it in my own way. No need to fiddle-foot around. I'm listening. They're there in my head when I sleep. And sometimes I can taste them on the back of my tongue like a smear of grit. Happens when I take in a particularly volatile soul. You need me, I'll be 2 whoops and a holler away.
Will do.
What is it? Where can I talk to this statue? What the hell? Hey there. Thanks, Andra, for fine seeds and finer company. Are these the cannons? Oh shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh shit. They're on this side. What about this side though? Not quite like the open ocean. Ahoy, Captain. The mariner salutes. Our boatswain's a right smart sailor.
Wonder what Pa's up to.
What the hell's Pa? All yacht reaches. Big mouth.
Great and terrible things are at work. And once again, you seem to be in the middle of it.
Alot is twisting the edge of his sash between his hands, a purposeful frown on his face.
The Rawatayans we passed will doubtless spread word of what you've done in Hasongo. But others will want to know what you've seen. They'll look to you for answers.
He watches you uncertainly, his brow furrowed. Oh? I have thought I have to report truthfully. I tell them what they need to hear. I'm worried about what that will lead to. What I say makes no difference.
You make it sound so simple. Don't you worry what will come next? What events you might move forward?
What someone else does with my words is on them, not me, of course. No doubt my response wasn't anything. If I thought about it that much, I'd never do anything. What is this really about, Aloy?
It reminds me of the question that drew me to the Deadfire. The one I've been avoiding. I promised to tell you what I was doing among the Animancers at Port Marge. As you may have guessed, I was observing them, gathering information on the various Animancy operations in the region.
What for? I thought you were looking for a particular letter key group.
Yes, and how better to draw them out. Animancy is a subject of particular interest to the Leaden Key. Through it, I hope to pick up the trail.
And then?
That's where it gets complicated. After that incident in Old Valia, I thought more about the Leaden Key and its particular composition.
Mostly lunatics and rogues, as I recall. Isomir crackles gleefully as Aloy's thoughtful expression dissolves. After a moment, she fades away once more. It seems pleased.
If you two are finished... It's existed for over 2,000 years. Say what you will about its motives and methods, but that's an impressive tenure.
He claps his hands behind his back and begins pacing.
That's when I realized how short-sighted I'd been. To think I could undo the Leaden Key without understanding how it works. I found references to an ancient Leaden Key cabal in the Deadfire. Possibly one of the oldest, if accounts are credible. And they appear to have been working independently, without direct intervention from Theos, for almost 2 millennia.
Very well, how do we find them?
There's the challenge. Most sources refer to them as the Painted Masks. But I haven't met anyone here who knows that name.
The Wahaki of Ori Okoiki paint their faces.
Truly? Then perhaps we'll find something there.
Hope sparks sail to Ori Okawaki.
Thank you. Anyway, there's daylight yet. I suppose that's enough from me.
Yes, sir.
Hey, look who it is.
Talk to me about Burn.
Wasn't what I expected, I know that much. I had this idea that maybe I'd get along with him. Either 'cause he was like his mom, or 'cause he was like, but it was like somebody talked him out of his personality.
Indeed.
When he looked at you, you got the feeling he was looking at someone a long ways behind you.
Indeed, the boy is lost.
It's not his fault. He's alone out here. And his mom was such a force. If she was so sure of herself, she'd have had that co-leader following her. Hard to replace something like that.
Indeed.
All this chasing after Aethys. It's brought back memories of the Saints' War. Just how scared everyone was, mostly. Everybody put on a brave face, made all these claims about what they'd do when they met a god in battle. There was no sadder sight than a group of us talking big, trying to outdo one another.
Huh.
Even the fella that led us.
A defense
used to
mechanism,
say he
no
knew all
doubt.
these different ways you could kill a god, if you were so inclined. Of course, at night he'd grind his teeth so hard it sounded like he was chewing rocks. In case you were curious if he really had it in him.
We weren't so sent to kill Aethys. I sympathize. My teeth are probably worn down by nubs by now. Whitaker couldn't stop me, neither can Aethys. Sounds like quite a group. We weren't sent to kill Aethys.
Oh, I bet that'll be a load off his mind. Could be he'll suck out our souls more gently as a reward. Point being, the prospect of facing a god makes cowards of most all of us. And now, here I am again, on my way to meet Aethys.
His eyes flick upward, either a gesture toward the Dawn Stars or Nyril.
Some ways I feel the same. Edgy, sick in my gut. But it's different this time. Might be because of you.
How's that?
We haven't gone to pieces yet, for one thing. At least not on the outside. You could have let it all end back at Cadnua, or even Gilded Vale. But you're still going, even knowing where we're headed. Haven't forgot who you are. Sure, you got a bit of a temper on you. Doesn't mean you led us wrong. There's part of me thinks we aren't gonna make it out of this. When I get to thinking like that, it helps to remember how you've held together. What do you think? We gonna survive all this?
Believe it, I'm not done living yet. What matters to me is that we face a challenge head on. I think I already failed at that one. We made it this far. I think there's a chance. You don't want to know what I think. Believe it. I'm not done living yet.
Whether or not I believe it, I like it just the same. Yeah, I go back and forth myself. Every time we see one of those big footprints, it reminds me not to get too excited. There's a good chance we die out here, halfway across the world from anywhere I ever called home.
Yep.
But if I can face it like you, maybe it doesn't matter.
It's been good having you
I
along.
mean it. Don't know where I'd be right now if you hadn't come through Gilded Vale that day. I'll tell you what, though. I'm not one for big promises. But I'm gonna beat up as many people and monsters as it takes to get you your life back. You got my word on that.
He smiles with one side of his mouth and gives you 2 heavy swats on the shoulder. They river up and down your spine. Okay, let's head up deck. See if we got any more crews to look at. See if we can find Seraphine. Oh, Oswald, the galley on this tub ain't half bad. So thank you. Thank you, my good man.
Your orders, Captain?
Nothing for now, Miss Maya. Yeah, how you doing, girl? Need something, Captain? No, just say hi. Ragged settle. Taylor Holmes happily. Nice too. My boy Bear Doll. So,
Ahoy, Captain. What can I do you for?
tell me about yourself.
On my first ship before the Sorcerer, they made me a rigger, barnacle scraper, and powder monkey. Every deadly job. They be hoping I'd buy the farm. I lived to disappoint.
Another thing they should have improved on in the sequel is switching out your crewmates pretty simply. At least let you switch it out in the freaking deck of your ship. I gotta go damn in for this? Seriously? Wait. Huh. That's how it looks. Look at that water. Damn, that's a good graphics. I'm not gonna lie, I love how that looks. 1 level too high. Let's do that. Back in. Learn about Pococohara and Tikawara. Motori Okozi, an island once used for shelter in central days of Kaizo. Alright, let's do the Brass Empire. And we gotta talk to Hazunai Karu, leads the Tatooine forces, Rautan Force. Speak with the Hazunai at the Brass Citadel. Alright. Let's head to the Brass Citadel in Nekataka. Ricky's Overlook. Oh. Have I never been there? You're wandering through the streets when a man approaches you, cutting through the crowd. You've never seen him, but the look in his eyes suggests that he recognizes you. Watcher? Let me through. The meadowfolk man emerges from the crowd, red-faced and wild-haired. He pays no mind to the irritated pedestrians glowering at him. His bright eyes are fixed on you. The meadow folk man emerges from the crowd. Oh, you're looking? Fervent as always. Latharan. Shorty just put her chin in brusque greeting. In response, the missionary puffs out of breath. Suppose that was a compliment coming from you. Indeed, I strive to follow the light and godliness. Of course it was. I mean, why wouldn't it be? Shorty's words speak to innocence, but her grin is too rough, too wolfish. Then allow me to return the gesture. I say, you seem darker than usual, Harvester. It shrouds you, all that death and heresy. Reckon I'll hold my tongue from now on. Shorty immediately bristles. Ignoring her hard scowl, Latharan resettles his gaze on you. You're the one that saw the miracle when Eothas rose at Kainua. All in conviction could in his voice. You must be Latharan. You left Hasango just before Eothas arrived. His rising was a tragedy. Every other man, woman, and child at the keep died. But surely to be reborn in glory, don't you think? He grimaces, but not entirely certain of his answers. Our people talk highly of you. It's no wonder Eothas chose you to witness his return. That's why I'm hoping you can help. The tiniest flicker of doubt dances across his face. He banishes it with a deep breath and launches into his tale. I've been having strange dreams. An orchard of koiki trees, each grown from the fallen fruit of the last. He scratches his wrist. When he spoke of the wheel break apart, the trees stop growing, fruit falls around until the ground is covered with festering, spiking pulp. Dreams are the sleeping mind at play. No sense in getting worked up. Why are you telling me? You've been touched by the gods, born with their mark. I think I've got to think you of will understand what this means. Besides, he nods his lips. In these dreams, I'll see you at the center of the wheel, in the middle of the orchard. You were there when Eothas rose, and you seem to follow every place he's been. He works his mouth into a fretful pout as he gets to the crux of his concerns. Eothas has always meant a rebirth and redemption, but so much death follows in his wake. Both in the Saints' War and now here again, his eyes are full of questions. Is this what I sound like? Edo gives you a guilty grimace. He turns towards Latharan. Friend, I'd love to buy you a drink if it helped. Shakes his head, thinks I'm mounting his head. I need to know what this means, please. Death and rebirth are part of the same cycle. You can't have one without the other. I don't think Eothas intends any harm. Mayhap he's doing it anyway, then what are you saying? My people follow Eothas to war once. I wonder sometimes if we failed him when we lost. Or if we did that the moment we laid hand to blade. Please, you've seen more than anyone. You've got to have some idea of what it all means. But how to make sense of it? I can't tell you how to respond. You have to figure this out yourself. You can rely on custom to drive your fate. You'll make the same mistake. I don't know what it means, but I trust there's a higher purpose to the gods' actions, including Eothas. Your faith and your way of life has kept your people together through war and famine. Hold on to them. They don't start to survive because it's community formed. You don't need Eothas for that. I can't tell you how to respond. You have to figure this out yourself. Don't rely on custom to drive your faith, or you'll make the same mistake as before. I don't know what it means, but I trust there's a higher purpose to the gods' actions. But they're not really gods. The gods aren't the only means to get greater understanding. Oh God. They're not true gods. Oh God. Oh good Lord. Your faith and your way of life has kept your people together. Oh Maua, Doors, Elves, Orlons, and Godlike. Yeah, the Deadfire is littered with all types of Oh Maua, the Rowtowns, the Hawana. I suppose they made the rules, they ought to abide by them. Shorty puffs out a heated breath. Latharan nods, letting this sink in. I won't keep you, but you've given me a lot to think about, thank you. Interesting encounter. Citadel. I've never been here. You hear a heavily armored footsteps from. Oh lord. Seriously? You notice two members of your crew, Ragged, Zero, and Nine, crouching at the corner ahead of you. See anything interesting? Gods above, Captain. I said, are you trying to scare us to death? My heart nearly stopped. Let's tell him, Ragged Zero. We found a chance to make a little point, Captain. A glance around the corner reveals an aging meadow folk man, garishly dressed in the style of a deer-wooded noble. Lamplight runs from the rings of his fingers and thin neck. Damnation towards your company, this is not the right street. The word is slurred as the man's tongue is too heavy from his mouth. Several men and women, all too heavily armored for the climate, accompany the man. Apologies, master, if we... Shut up, fool. By Margaret's flame, it is always this hot. Is it always this hot? I'd pay 1,000 dukes for another drink. Get back to the galley before I turn you into city guard myself. Carry on, just remember your captain visits a hut. I'll take it from here, you two. Aye, Captain. In your literature, they support a few cuts and bruises, but they seem happy for it as they share a bottle of fine Yennefer. Can we please get to the Brass Citadel, for God's sake? Yeah, I've never been to the Brass Citadel. Holy shit.
Halt! What is your business at the Brass Citadel?
I met Hazan Nui Karu at the palace.
You're the Watcher. The one who nearly caused a riot in Queensbirth.
His mouth quirks in a grin.
Grand Secretary Atsura wants to meet you. His office is on the lower level of Imperial Command. Up the stairs. Once you're inside, go downstairs through the room on the right.
What about the Hazan Nui?
Her office is at the back of Imperial Command. She is busy organizing other matters, but I am sure she will grant you an audience.
Let us begin.
Leave. No Valiant spy is coming through on my watch.
I'm a merchant. I have business inside.
You want to see our walls, our cannons, our powder house. You must think I'm an idiot.
Ak, you got one thing right.
Kind of funny. This is the military of the Deadfire's major path.
Sails unfurled and sword held high. To battle for glory and Rautai.
Faithfully done, Emiani. Report to Wakoyo Nui when your hands and your temper have healed.
Come to gawk, too? My punishment's over, you know.
Looks away and crosses her arms carefully to hide her burned hands. Why are you holding a red-hot cannonball?
I punched my captain.
Atta girl.
It's as if mere mention of the incident takes her back to it. Her face darkens with anger, and a bitter snarl transforms her features.
So maybe he shouldn't have insulted my aim. Like I don't know the difference between a smooth and rifled bore.
What are you gonna do now?
I'm not reporting back to Wakoyo, that's for sure. I crewed on mercenary ships before this. Come to think of it, that suited me better.
She grins impishly.
Still a scramble root at heart, I guess. But I'm plenty experienced. Maybe I'll see if anyone's looking for an expert cannoneer.
I want one. He looks you up and down considering your offer.
Don't take this the wrong way, but I only crew with captains I know. Either personally or by reputation. I'm sure you're capable. But I don't know enough about you. Yet. Let's talk again when you've made a name for yourself. That's the last time I ship out with some soft-handed runt.
Wait, Master's office. Gotta go to Imperial Command.
Why did
Starfleet.
Ranga carve his name into a rock?
The Ranga Nui, and it's a commemoration to show what he built.
Oh. Then did your Reparo also write their names on other stones?
Imperial Command. The Klingon Imperial Command. The Starfleet Command. The Romulan Senate. The Founders. Subarashi. Their heir around the Crow's throne was the last life-sustaining magic. Alright, so they said to go downstairs. To the right. Here. For now. Road.
The former Lord of Cadnua and one-time Terrifier of Harbor Masters. If dockside tales are to be believed.
He smiles briefly through the smoke.
Other than Hasongo, you have not brought much good news of late.
Her pensive look returns.
So, in addition to pirates, profiteers, and slavers, the Deadfire has a vengeful god roaming its waters?
That's about the shape of it. Things could be worse, at least it's not skying. Not if I do anything about it. I need to learn more before we speculate on his motives. Things could be worse, at least it's not skying.
Tell that to my dead at Hasongo.
She lapsed into a brief silence, puffing up her pipe. There's
just what the archipelago needs. One more disaster tugging at the seams. He must be stopped. Anything can be stopped with sufficient force. The problem is finding the will to deploy it.
I see.
The Valians won't lift a finger if it isn't to snatch a coin, and the Huana will barely do that much. No one takes charge to solve the big problems. But perhaps we could work together to our mutual benefit.
Well, what do you mean?
Look around. Deadfire's full of fertile, temperate islands. Except for Andra's mortar. It's largely free of rough weather.
She waves her right hand, and you notice again that her fingers remain strangely still. You realize it's an unusually fine prosthetic.
Yet much of it is uninhabited. Itinerant tribes drift between some of the islands, and smugglers and slavers cluster around the rest. It's a waste. Imagine what this place could be, with well-guarded shipping routes. How many Rawatayans we could feed with plantations here.
You're reminding me of the Spanish, the French, the Portuguese, the English, Did I miss someone? The Dutch, during the colonial era. What does this have to do with me? I don't see how you're much different from the other powers here. Rautai. Coastal Alman, ruled by Aranga Nui, currently the most prosperous of the old empire. The Rautai has expanded aggressively into the Deadfire archipelago to secure natural resources that are scarce in their native, storm-torn land. Though folk, doors, and Orlons can be found in Rautai, most are merchants or remnants of the old kingdoms Rautai conquered when they seized power centuries ago. Legends say that the Rautaians came to their lands from the Deadfire archipelago in the wake of a terrible cataclysm. The details of that event have been lost to time and the imagination of storytellers. I don't really see how you're different from other powers.
The Valian Trading Company wants to leech every last coin they can from the Deadfire, no matter the eventual cost. They're little more than thieves.
And you?
The Principi are actual thieves, no matter their pretensions of nobility, and the Juana are happy to let them all pick away at their fractured empire.
Juana, a tribal civilization primarily comprised of island Oama. So they're Oama, Oma, Ua, and so are the Juana. The Juana are Oma, Ua as well, just of the island variety, and they're coastal. And the Juana are happy to look though,
We're interested in building something here.
Piping his gestures expansively. What does that have to do with me? I explain the Deadfire for the sake of Rautai.
That's a naive view. One our enemies are keen to promote. Rautai's violent storms have shaped and hardened us as much as they have our homeland's rocky terrain. But it remains a difficult place to live. So, we rely on trade. And on plantations we've established here. And those developments also create a more stable, productive Deadfire. You've got a way of charging into things full speed. Some might call it reckless, but I consider it valuable. If you're chasing the god who's stomping this place into the ground, then we have a common goal. And if you're going to survive here, then you could use an ally. You've already helped us immensely at Hasongo. Once repairs are done, we can resume much-needed shipments from the farms back to Rautai. It's also a welcome indication that someone around here can get things done.
You're shipping all this back to Rautai, feeding your people, which is great. But what about the Roparu? They're starving in the Gullet and other places around the Deadfire.
Atsura, our Grand Secretary, has a plan that would make use of your unusual talents. His office is downstairs. He can tell you more.
What was with all the black powder at Hasongo?
Notice that, did you? Saltpeter is one of our chief resources at Rautai, and we believe in putting resources to use. Now you can see why we didn't want the Valians nosing around our fort.
What's the game board for?
Hazatoa. Atsura and I usually have a game running, and this one's been going on for over a month and a half. Atsura's good at misdirection, but I've got a mind for the long game. You look like you've come with a purpose.
What happened to your hand? She extends her arm, holding the prosthetic between you. It's an exquisite piece with reinforced joints in each of the fingers and a smooth, fan finish.
It happened a year into my first command. We were chasing pirates along Rauatai's south coast, and they landed a shot right next to our magazine. A lucky hit.
He's quiet for a moment.
I ran below. The fire was already spreading and making for our powder stores. I smothered what I could with my uniform, pulled the rest away with my own hands.
There must have been another way. I would have done the same for my ship and crew. If you hadn't, you and your crew would probably have died. She nods.
We don't get to choose our challenges, do we? Just the way we meet them. There's a cost to every victory. And the win goes to those willing to make a sacrifice.
He considers the wooden hand, turning it in the light. You sense satisfaction in her gaze.
I'll bet you already know a thing or two about that. And if you don't, Deadfire will teach you soon enough.
Very interesting. Done here. Alien Trading Company, the Principi, the Juana, the Royal Deadfire Company. These are the various factions. In Citrus Poco Kahara. Tikawara. Vambakua Orikuhu. Past the Kuho Rubiku. Bookspur. Motari Okozi is nestled in the Kua Oriku chain of islands, a long journey northeast of Nekataka in the midst of a landmass shaped like a storm. Storms of Pokokuhara. The first expedition planned to stop at the island of Tikawara, southeast of Negataka, where they hoped to the locals and give them directions on to Pokokohara. Ah, that might be a good idea, actually, now that I think about it. He hasn't got to head to Tikawara, it seems, or in that eastern direction. Number of things to do. Let's do the Lantern of Gone, come back to Negataka, and do a couple of those extra side quests as well.
They weren't that bad.
The lower level. Before we head out, let's quickly...
Rhyming Hazanui with Kablooey?
I can't think of anything else that goes with Hazanui.
Me neither. That's why I leave epics to the lore college.
Criticism is easier than creation.
Indeed. Are y'all soldiers? Y'all soldiers? I heard the Gunhawks can shoot an OA from the top. This girl. Oh, I got a humble little office.
I've got it.
Superstitions surround your con, you must tire of hearing them. The man behind the desk regards you with attentive, unblinking eyes and a perfectly open expression. His smooth features make it hard to pinpoint his age, though the crinkles at the corners of his eyes suggest he is not especially young. He cocks his head, taking your measure. He pauses before speaking just a little longer than seems normal. When he finally does, he seizes you by the shoulders and wraps you in an abrupt but warm embrace. The gesture is so sudden and over so quickly, but when he steps back and resumes his politely professional manner, it's almost as if it never happened.
Watcher Nui, the hero of Hasongo. I'm pleased you've taken me up on my invitation.
Okay, get to it. In his careful stare and the pause before he speaks, you recognize that he's studying you.
Negataka is full of boastful tongues and bold claims, but none have accomplished what you managed at Hasongo.
That's because no one else is the Watcher of Kaidnua. There's a part where you tell me what I can do for the Royal Deadfire Company, right? I do what has to be done, and I don't let anything stand in my way. Let's go with the second one.
So I see.
He laughs, so I see. His eyes shine with interest. He blinks perhaps for the first time since your conversation began. Aloth massages his temple, shaking his head.
Oh. I am Atsura, Grand Secretary of the Royal Deadfire Company.
It sounds like a significant title, but he is strangely emotionless. He might as well be describing the color of his clothing. It sounds like a significant title, but he is strangely emotionless. He might as well be describing the color of his clothing. What's your business here? For a trading company, you've got a very commanding presence in Negataka.
And why not? Thousands of years ago, our people came from the archipelago. By one reckoning, we have as much claim on these islands as the Huana.
Indeed, he shrugs and waves a hand in the manner of someone politely dismissing a compliment.
But our purpose here is trade. While our homeland is rich in saltpeter, the violent climate and rocky soils make it a poor source for most other basic staples. It's my business to look after the mainland's interests here.
He spreads his hands wide to include a rather plain, dim office. Do those interests include Luminous Adra? Who did you cross or get stuck in the basement? He chuckles, a sound as smooth as warm oil.
The Juana and the Valians decorate their latrines with gilding and coral, and the Principe cling to faded riches.
He chops one hand through the air.
I place little value in fancy trappings.
You sure like your cannons, though?
Can you blame us? We share the archipelago with unpredictable tribes and a league of pirates, and the Valians have made their hunger known.
Indeed. Continue.
Leave it to them to observe a substance that occurs nowhere else on Aora, and immediately set about pulverizing it for profit.
A ripple of distaste passes over his features. And what would you do with it? They were also using it to advance the science of animancy. It's foolish and short-sighted of them. And what would you do with it?
Nothing. We know too little about luminous Adra to understand the consequences of ripping it out.
That I agree. So it's basically like the oil of this world.
Perhaps you can help me keep them from doing more harm.
I don't want to pick a fight with the Valiants for you. If there's a problem, I'd like to help. That depends on what's in it for me. This doesn't sound like it has anything to do with me. What do you have in mind?
The demand for luminous Adra has sent the Valian Trading Company into a frenzy. Their expeditions grow too bold, and their officers too greedy. Worse, their rapid expansion attracts pirates and threatens the outlying Juana tribes. This risks souring the Kahanga royals against all foreign involvement, but you can curtail their growth.
This isn't about the welfare of the Deadfire. This is about them outpacing you. How do you expect me to do that? I don't want to undermine the Valian Trading Company.
By snapping up land, we need to grow food and build ships for our people? Indeed. But our interests and Deadfire's are not mutually exclusive. The Valians have sent an expedition to Pococahara, a storm-wrecked island believed to house a vein of luminous. Restoring the luminous Adra at Hasonga was an incredible feat, one I would have thought impossible. If your abilities allow you to do that, then perhaps you are also capable of the opposite. Find the luminous Adra at Pococahara. Render it unusable to the Vali. This should encourage them to develop the resources they have, rather than reaching for more.
His eyebrows rise a degree, both a request and an invitation. I have a feeling that luminous Adra in the future is going to be used for space travel and rocket ship design, or cars. What's to say I don't tell the Valians about that? I thought you were concerned about disturbing. Why would I help you? Very well. I thought you were concerned about disturbing luminous Adra.
Deeply.
He furrows the brow, frowning deeply. Your blood is
But if a small sacrifice here will discourage the Valians from further ventures, then it is a worthwhile risk.
Why would I help you?
Because governors like Clario are a rare breed. Most of the Valian administrators care little for the well-being of the Juana. If the Valians claim Pococahara, it is the locals who will truly suffer.
What's to say I don't tell the Valians about this?
For all their faults, they don't lack imagination. I'm confident they know of our intentions.
We will see.
Deadfire is a tumultuous place. Consider the value of an ally with ships, cannons, and the backing of a great empire. I do not have the precise location of Pococahara, but the tribe on the nearby island of Tikawara could probably help. I suggest starting there.
Circle the small out-of-the-way island on your map.
Now, what else can I do for you?
What exactly is the Brass Citadel?
It's a trading post, of course.
Disrupt the luminous Adra. Yeah, why they call the Citadel. Brass, no less. Your trading post has high walls, cannons, and guard towers.
Anything worth building is worth protecting.
You seem different from the rest of the Royal Deadfire Company.
How do you mean that?
You're not a soldier. You're hard to read.
It comes from years of practice. It's the only way I've learned to beat Karanui at Hazatoa. How do you mean that? Rawatai is composed of many types, but it's true, many here are soldiers and engineers, none of whom are especially diligent about paperwork. How do you mean that?
Oh, come on, you know. He lowers his head
Are
watching
you making advances at me?
No.
It's for the best. It's a trading post. Rawatai is rich in saltpeter, copper, and a few other profitable minerals. We generally trade for food and timber, which grow poorly in the rough country.
An affectionate road to return for their homeland. Ross refers to both the unyielding rocky soils and the storms that batter
The
mainland.
Valians have become aggressive competitors in recent years, but our ships were plying the seas long before the Republic's declared independence. We learned the value of defending our goods and ships long ago. Clear skies.
Alright, we updated our party for a little bit. Got Seraphine in here. Put away Eder temporarily. Had a lighted path, so that's fair. We can come back to that later anyway. We have to come back here, so we'll handle him later. For now, I just want to try out a new weapon I have for Maya and for Seraphine. Make sure they're actually on there. These are the two ones I have to try out. They're there. Good. Let's leave by sea. Let's go. We're gonna go back to Hasango in order to see that luminous Adra real quick. There it is. And see if we can release some of the souls in Shodi's lantern.
Give me the order.
Go there real quick. It's gonna take a minute.
You were gabbing with my god again, weren't you?
Yeah, right, fair point, that. Captain?
Yep, this is heading to a place called Margaret's Teeth. It's strange, feeling part of my soul in the body of a god. Show your friends thoughtfully.
Oh, good thing we're in the Deadfire, where the volcanoes definitely aren't going to awaken at any time.
Alright, let's go here. It's just annoying getting to this location because I have to go through this house situation. I would have repaired it by now. Alright, Shodi. Shodi, like a melody in my head. Da-na-na. Alright, let's go here.
This luminous Audra ought to be able to take my souls, Watcher. What do you say?
Let's try it. Continue.
Get ready to witness the feat of a lifetime, Watcher. I'm about to do God's good work, to single-handedly shepherd a multitude of souls straight into the depths of hell.
Hands on his hips, Seraphine grins. Aelov massages his temple, shaking his head. She rubs her hands together, rubs her palms against her hips, and snatches up her lantern, eager, ready. She wriggles her shoulders and pops her neck, stands subtly widening. I'm ready to be impressed.
Then keep your eyes peeled, cause it's gonna happen.
She snaps her fingers.
Fast as a fire beetle flash. The Audra'll snatch him right quick once I conjure the light. So don't look away.
Larafin strokes his braided beard with a quiet smirk. Aloth massages his temple, shaking his head. Hey, damn, son. Electricity, no. Hypercharged soul energy whips across the air, lashing open Shorty's skin. How do they even know about electricity? Soul energy whips across the air, lashing Shorty's skin, traveling the pathway of 1,000 branching veins and capillaries. The strike bursts Shorty bloody from face to neck. Traveling the pathway of 1,000 branching veins and capillaries, the strikes burst Shorty bloody from face to neck, to arms and lower, and she screamed at her voice, a secondary crack across the sky. Shorty was injured.
I swear to the gods, I'm trying!
The words rattle from between the clenched teeth ripped from her glistening body, but she doesn't let go. The lantern trembles so violently it nearly cracks, but then a massive wave of purple essence rushes from the lantern. It swirls up and around the Audra, crashing along the glimmering surface before being sucked inside. The Audra pulses brighter, then darker, then brighter, blinding. There's a howling, then the Audra cracks, and a jagged shard tumbles to the ground.
Ugh, son of a god's darn motherless cur! That hurt worse than a back-to-back whooping from Uncle Angbert's quarterstaff. Hell, and I only gotta do it again and again on cycle until the day I die?
You don't have to do anything you don't want to.
But the guild says I do. I can't turn my back on my purpose any more than I could Aora in need. I never did want to take the easy route. I'll keep reaping more souls then. Do my duty till I fall to dirt and bones. Never you worry though. I'll see to dumping my lantern in the future on my own. Thank you for finding me a way to handle my burden. Even if it does involve the occasional jolt of pain.
Chad's TV and Shorty scrambles for the Audra shard embedded in the ground. The crystal slick with her blood from her palm. She shoves it into her pocket, then she shakes her head. You've gained the quest item, Luminous Audra Mantle.
Darn if I don't feel so light I could float away.
Doing any better?
My bones are still a little jangly. But yeah, I think I am. I don't know if this is what Gone planned for me. But I'd like to think we did right by these souls. We're bringing light to the darkness. Ensuring spring follows the coming fall.
I hope you're right. The Lantern of Gone. Oh shit, we done this quest. Painted Maz, a sorcerer and a gentleman. We gotta report to the Serpent's Crown. Gotta go to the Temple of Gone. Quarantine situation. Alright, let's do this. Light path situation next. Temple of Gone. Ogni, is that over here?
Light of Aethys be upon you. Light of Aethys be upon you.
Oh. Not even in my party. You know what? It's not even my party, I forgot. Frustrating.
After spending so much time with Connor, I like him.
Guess poetry just has that effect on me.
Well, you could certainly do worse when it comes to family.
Incense? Offerings for the temple?
Kahanga Palace. So like this overload, we can go to the end, do edit situation without. What else should we provide?
Do not leave me in suspense, I say. Have you found Matario Cozy? If you have questions, the royal brother will hear you. Do not leave me in suspense. Ask. Whatever I know is the Sanctuary Isles. I am hoping the island can remember. The question for those with ye, it might be that in better times than these, the trading companies would not have thought to look for Matario Cozy. But now they are vultures to carrion. I do not doubt that our rivals just so. Do not leave me in suspense, I say.
That's bizarre.
Do not leave me in suspense.
I know highly
A Tepu, drawer of maps. I have nothing to sell unless you are needing something else.
Have you ever found a son of a peso?
There is not a Juana in all of the Deadfire who does not take to the open water hoping to catch a glimpse of the lost Ukaizo. If I could walk the beaches of our ancestors, take a fleeting glimpse of what they left behind, mine would be a life well lived. The same thing we all hope for. Answers to the long silence that precedes our history. Who we were could tell us who we are. But if I am being selfish, maps, charts. Our ancestors were keen explorers, and a roll of their parchment could teach us more than what we have gathered in the last century. I recently had the pleasure to rediscover, if I am honest, one of the lost Sanctuary Islands. Our ancestors marked off specific islands across Deadfire as rallying points in case a great misfortune split up the tribes. Even they could not have guessed how important the Isles would become. Some thousands of years ago, volcanoes, storms, and quakes shook the archipelago. Any one of those do happen, but never with such ferocity or all at once. The Juana survived by taking shelter on the Sanctuary Isles to save our society, and not just any one tribe. Since those days, we have not found any of the old Sanctuary Isles. Ngati took some beneath the waves, taking whole tribes with her. I am told that the Wahaki are protective toward the Isles, but that is their business.
How did you make this discovery?
I was surveying the waters around an atoll when a storm dragged my ship off course. The waters were unknown to me. When a green fleck appeared in my spyglass, I unfurled my sail. The shore twisted around itself, confusing even this old navigator until I found myself at the center. I did not make it far up the beach before I spotted signs of habitation. Marking my coordinates and orienting myself by the evening sky, I made for Nekitaka to tell the crown of my findings.
You mentioned the entire tribe are lost.
Understand, the Deadfire was broken. The lives lost could not be counted. And more has been forgotten than may. Imagine how much history we lost in a single year, much less the millennia that followed. Whatever our people hoped for themselves, we may never know if we got it right or wrong. Death. I did not mean to frighten you. These islands have known great tragedy, and millennia have passed in cheerless silence. Should you land on a sanctuary isle, do not expect to find welcome. Ah, if we must, I will not deny curiosity.
Stone. Officials. Who the hell are these officials? There's an upper floor.
Barati pays coin to feed the great eel. Will do.
Yeah.
My brothers and sisters have set sail for Neketaka.
I thought the tribes needed them to calm the weather.
A greater storm surrounds this place. We must answer the call.
It is high time we spoke away from the exhaustive filter of the court. My children, Kahopa and Tangaloa, it is to them that I answer when dignitaries do not pound at my door.
Moving to pet them. Your tiger raises their heads to observe each heavy breath wafting the lingering scent of a recent meal. They enjoy your gesture with indifference.
A messenger from the jaws of Tangaloa speaks with the voice of wisdom and change, I say.
She raises her brows at you.
It is fitting that yours should be the voice that tells of Hasongo's fate. What did you see there?
The Naga occupied the colony after Aothis trained the Adra. I let them live.
The snakes are on edge. Where comes this new boldness? Far be it for me to complain if they make trouble for outsiders. What of Aothis? If you know why he terrorizes the Deadfire, speak on.
He's headed for Magrin's Teeth. I'm to meet him at the target volcano of Ashitmore. He needs more luminous Adra. He makes from Magrin's Teeth, but I believe that is only a waypoint. I'm to meet him.
If he fears neither ocean nor magma, I wonder that anything can stop him. If Aothis makes for Magrin's Teeth, I say the Rathun will grind him to dust for the praise of their warrior matron.
The Rathun. Is that another Aumaua?
Even if they fail, it will be an enemy cleared for my plate. This is the gratitude of Nagati, I say.
Rathun?
The fiery children of Magrin, devoted to their mother with a fanatic zeal. Bothersome, but the least of my troubles now.
Continue.
From Port Mage to Hasongo to Magrin's Teeth, Aothis follows a rich vein of Adra. It takes him northeast to more interesting territory.
Continue.
In the deepest memory of the tribes, we have told stories of Magrin's Teeth. Embellished sailors' fables, Akira, but not without some truth. My people speak of treacherous seas, lakes of fire, and the ancient warriors hammered to life on Magrin's anvil. Do not depend upon them seeing you as kin.
She tips her head with a knowing smile.
Ashen Maw is the grandest and most accessible of the peaks. It is the sharpest tooth in Magrin's jaw. Prepare yourself for a fight.
Any chance of support ships to accompany the galleon?
Akira, would that our resources were not so entangled in other parts. I cannot send ships to Magrin's teeth any more than I would send paper dolls to a furnace. If you make preparations in Nekataka, I say we can help each other. I must keep the city's peace, and I have only so many arms and eyes. While the Deadfire screams, I would see Nekataka outlast the storm to come. What I need is a lasting peace that will outlive my dynasty. But I will accept peace of mind for now. What do you know of my water shapers, Herald of Bareth?
Keepers of ancient Huana tradition. I know they gave Rautai no end of trouble in the early advance.
Akira, if you recall history, then you know why I am protective over the guild. My water shapers are the levy holding back Rauatai's advance. An adept standing at the prow of a war canoe is enough to send the fleet scrambling for the shallows.
Don't get too cozy, Highness. That false sense of security will get you into trouble.
Akira, I would not want your employers to think me easy prey.
Onekaza purses her lips at Maya.
This reminds me. I owe the Hazanui a basket of koiki in remembrance of the Battle of Nekaro Atoll.
In 2758 AI, Rautai encroached on Huana lands and made an enemy of the Wahaki tribe. The bloody conflict came to a head at Nekaro Atoll. Rauatai's warships decimated the tribal force. In the aftermath, the Huana crown dispatched the water shapers to sink Rauatai's most prized vessel, the Tenets of Iron, as a reprisal and demonstration of power. Snaps her fingers, announced to an attendant who scurries off.
The voices of the dead echo through Tangaloa's mouth, wailing of their missteps in life. I merely ask the Hazanui to listen. While the problems of Aethys and overindulgent admirals plague these waters, I have summoned the masters of water shaping to Nekataka.
Pit your strongest water wizards against their weight in iron and black powder, Highness. We can end this quickly.
Akira, and how long will this contest last in open water?
He tuts at Maya before shifting her focus back at you. Continue.
Now would be the time to confer with Guildmaster Myru, but she does not answer my summons.
Maybe she's just overworked.
Akira, I would sleep better at night if I could hang more of my concerns on easy. The guild can suffer no setbacks. If Myru shirks her duties, her queen would know the reason. Nagati, do not abandon us now.
Onakaza turns her gaze back to you and flinches. This was not a thought she intended to share. Interesting. Speak. The shadow under Nekataka. Wow. These four damned. Guildmaster Myru can be found at the Watership's Guild. Both headed there anyway. We'll continue there next time.